guy right here.
Jerome, what's happening, man?
How are you, sir?
I am good, man. It's good to hear your voice, brother. Yes, sir.
Man, it's a good day. Thanks for having me on, guys.
They're making fun of me because I chair dance. I can't dance with my feet on the ground, but if I'm in a chair, I can boogie.
Well, that just means you got some rhythm. See, that's all. You rolling with the rhythm.
If every club in L.A. had chairs on the dance floor, I'd be the guy. I'd be the man. Where are you? Are you in Atlanta?
I live in Atlanta. Yeah, that's home for me.
Okay, my bad, because I told Jerome 5:15, and he thought I meant 2:15 Pacific time. My man.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm calling like they don't have any idea what I'm talking about.
Hey, it's me, Jerome Bettis. I'm
That's
supposed to be
right.
on with DeMarco. We're like, who? When?
Yes, sir.
What?
Yes, sir.
How'd you get to Atlanta? How'd that become home?
Yes, dear.
Understood.
Very
Oh.
simple. When I retired, my wife said, "We're moving to Atlanta." I said, "Oh, yes, dear."
It's nice. Yeah, it's nice. The weather's, well, I guess the weather could be hot, right?
It's hot, but hey, it's hotter if I said no.
This is true. This is true. And you're used to just about anything. You played at Notre Dame, played out here, played in Pittsburgh. I mean, I think you've played in every single climate or lived in every single climate in America.
Yeah, just about. I mean, it's, so to move to Atlanta was not a really big issue at all. So I felt very comfortable. It wasn't a problem, and so made the adjustment fairly quickly.
Nice. Do you still get the itch to play ball in July?
Never.
In August?
Not anymore. No, it's been much too long.
Not at all? Not at all?
Not at all. Not
Nothing
even
wakes up
close.
in July like your body doesn't just wake up by rote and you think
No.
you got training camp to go to?
No, I wake up and I feel training camp. Shoot, not at all. No,
Jerome, could you in Atlanta, I mean, you're a recognizable guy. Do you live a more private life in Atlanta than you think you would if you were living in Pittsburgh where the bulk of your career was played?
Actually, it's a little different. It's probably opposite. I think if I was in Pittsburgh, obviously being a lot more recognizable, having had the success that we had in Pittsburgh, it'd be harder to be in the public as much because obviously people want to touch you, feel you, talk to you, just say hello a lot of times, and so that's going to be a bigger challenge in Atlanta. People recognize and they notice and they may say hello or they say, "Are you?" And it's kind of that much. It's not really that big of an issue. So it's a little bit easier for me to move around and be a little bit more public here in Atlanta.
I'm looking up your numbers just for fun, and I was trying to find the game that we played when you first became a Steeler and you played the Rams, and I forgot the game. It was 42-6. You beat us that bad, Jerome?
I don't remember. I didn't think it was 42-6. I didn't know what the score was.
Yeah,
I know it was.
It was one-sided. December 3rd, 1996. Pittsburgh win 42-6. 19 carries, 129 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's almost 7 yards a carry, man.
yeah. That was an important game because obviously the coach had said that I wasn't a game breaker and I couldn't change the course of a game.
That's right.
And in that game, I had a 50-yard run, which kind of really did exactly what he said I couldn't do. So that was like a big moment for me.
That's
so that
what
was
it was. Jerome, you almost got me
moment.
fired. Yeah, that was. You almost got us all fired there. I remember that. It was cold, kinda. And our coach came out with a parka on, and then here comes Bill Cowher wearing like a T-shirt. And I'm like, we are in trouble today, man. Oh, my God. I didn't know it was 42-6. I do remember that. Wow, they did doubt you a lot. Did you carried that to Pittsburgh?
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to. You have to remember when a team trades you, they're saying, we don't want you anymore, right? So at the end of the day, you're a prideful person, and I knew that I was very capable, right? So it wasn't a question of could I do it. I knew I could. I had done it for them. So for them to ship me out, then it was like, okay, let me show them what they let go, right? So it's motivating you every moment, every second you get the opportunity. And then to know that they're on the schedule is like, oh, I cannot wait.
Oh, my God. Cap, they got us killed.
We're talking to Jerome Bettis on Sedano, and Cap DeMarco is in for Sedano. Hey, Jerome, what do you remember, though, previous to going to Pittsburgh? I mean, the early days of your career, the early 90s, coming to the Rams, playing in Anaheim on a field that was, multi-purpose back then. There was the baseball dirt. I mean, what are some of the early L.A. Rams memories of your career?
There was, it was a lot of good times because obviously, being a team that we had really good talent, but we just couldn't put it all together. And there was moments when, we go out and have an incredible half of football or three quarters and then just kind of fall apart, late. I remember some of those 49er games playing the Rams. Those were like just big games. And, we come out, we play well, and then we find a way to kind of shoot ourselves in the foot and lose those close games. And so those were some of the ones that you really remember that stand out because those were some of the games that you knew you were capable of winning, but it put you kind of back in that same position. And the most frustrating part was the teams thinking that you're the same old team that, you're the same old team that we played last year. And you're like, no, we are much better, but we found a way to fall apart. And that was always the frustrating part of when we were with the Rams.
You know who used to scare me when I was a rookie? Coach Knox.
Who was it?
Chuck Knox used to scare me to death, man. I did not want to get on his bad side. But you guys were cool, right? You guys had a rapport.
Yeah, we had a good relationship. I mean, he was tough, but, he was one of those guys that if you work, then you're going to be okay with him. And so, my work ethic was strong, and, I was young, and I was, ready to go to work. And so he didn't have a problem with me. Just some of the other veteran guys that he had some issues with.
Yeah, I just you, Shane Conlon, I had Sean Gilbert, Jackie Slater. These are all my mentors. I mean, I'm talking Hall of Fame dudes. This is why, as a broadcaster now, when I see somebody that's having a great season or people say he's the best ever, it's hard for me to say, he's good because of the guys I played with, guys like you. If I see a big back coming out, well, he's not like Jerome, so I can't say he's the best I've ever seen. He's close to it. Or receivers. It's hard for me to say this receiver is great because I had Isaac and Torrey. Did you have somebody like that you looked up to when you were playing?
Well, it was not quite that, obviously, because when I got to the Rams, they had Cleveland Gary, and then he left after that year. And so I was kind of left to fend for myself kind of thing, right? And so there was nobody in that sphere that I could kind of gravitate to, being the young guy. So it was difficult for me from that perspective. Isaac, he was an incredible player. Troy Drayton got a chance, spend time with him. Some really good players that just unfortunately we weren't able to take the next step.
Right.
That was the frustrating part. But we had some really good players, but we just could never kind of get over that hump.
Talking to Jerome Bettis, Hall of Famer on Sedano and Cap here on 710. Hey, Jerome, I asked DeMarco this earlier. Check me on this. Didn't you have a TV commercial, I'm talking way back when, with Sean Gilbert where, like, he's kind of, like, holding you and kind of, like, spinning you round and round? Do I have that right or do I have that wrong?
Yeah, I don't think so, no. I don't think I ever did anything with Sean Gilbert.
Okay.
How many commercials have you been in?
Well, yeah, I mean, you did the Chunky's Campbell soup
that's right.
stuff,
That's right?
Yeah.
What else? Anything else where, like, your face was plastered all over TV?
Commercial-wise, I mean, when I was playing there, it was a Nike commercial we did.
Oh, yeah.
We did, I'm trying to think, a Visa commercial while we were there. Boy, that was a long time ago. I'm trying to remember some of the other ones.
No, but I guess that was the point. You were hot. I mean, when you left L.A. and you went to Pittsburgh, I mean, you go from, listen, we say Hollywood, but I mean, it was Anaheim. You know what I mean? But still, but you go from, like, this market to what is I would call it more of a football-centric market, whereas out here there's more opportunity, perhaps. What was that like to leave L.A. to go to Pittsburgh at that time?
Well, he went to St. Louis first.
Oh, that's right. There was a St. Louis stop. Yeah, that's right.
A pit stop in St. Louis.
And once we were in St. Louis, everybody was Jerome Bettis. That's all they knew.
Oh, my God. Hilarious.
But here's the thing for me. It wasn't that bad going from L.A. to Pittsburgh ultimately because I wanted to win. And the Steelers had just lost in the Super Bowl. And so I'm saying to myself, it's a quality football team that I'm going to have a chance to win a championship, right? And so every year we were a competitive football team. We may have not been good enough to win a championship, but we were in the playoffs just about every single year. And so that gave us that competitive balance that we needed to have. And for me, it gave me an opportunity to have obviously a Hall of Fame career because they believed in running the football, pounding it, playing great defense, and that's what we were able to do. And so we had some really, really, really good football teams, and ultimately we did win a championship. So it was that thrill because at the end of the day, I'm a football player. I wasn't an actor, right? So for me, it's about winning football games. And so it wasn't hard to leave Tinseltown because that wasn't the primary focus.
So was the Super Bowl that they had lost, was that the Neil O'Donnell to Larry Brown,
Yes.
the Cowboys, the interceptions?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That was in Phoenix, right? Okay, I got that one.
Yep.
Yep.
And
All right,
so I
interesting.
had a hungry team that I was still going to, and so we had some really, really good football teams consequently through the years.
So how long were you holding on to this is the bus's last stop in Detroit in that Super Bowl? When did you know you were going to say that?
I didn't.
You didn't? Because that was perfect.
Well, think about this. How do you know you're going to get up? First of all, you don't know if you're going to win, right?
Right.
Then you don't know if they're going to have you on the stage, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't an MVP or anything like that, right? So I didn't think that was going to happen to me, you know. So they bring me up, and so then I'm thinking, okay, they bring me up here. You know, you have a bunch of guys on the stage, and Hines Ward's on there, so Hines got the MVP. So I'm figuring he's going to be the one talking. And they, you know, and I think Mike Tirico was like, Jerome, come over here. I'm like, oh boy.
So that was totally organic. That was perfect, man.
It was totally organic. You can see I kind of gave a pause. What in the world? What do you say?
But it was apropos, man. That must have been cool.
You know,
That must have been cool for you to end your career in your home city.
Right, and that's what it was all, you know, boiled down to. You know, I don't remember quite exactly what I said, but basically it was, you know, I started my career here.
Yeah.
And I get to end it here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and for me it was great because my mom and dad lost my father, you know, about a year after we won. My mom and dad went to every single football game, NFL game I ever played, right? So they went to 13 years on the road every week, every game, right? So for me, that was the greatest joy I could give them is a championship in my last game in the hometown. They didn't have to go anywhere for the first, you know what I mean? It was just an incredible opportunity, an incredible moment for myself and my family. And so I decided that game that, you know, I'm going to splurge and I'm going to get them a suite, right?
Yeah.
Well, you don't know how much that costs, right? So I'm thinking, I'll get a suite for the Super Bowl. and after they told me how much it cost, I was like, I don't think I want it.
You can't go back now.
I ended up playing that game for free.
Oh, that's okay. That's good. That's
my God. You played that game for free, yeah.
I played that game for free. There was no doubt about it. It was
worth it, though.
But I'll tell you this. It was for my parents to see them in that moment, for them to share that with me, that was priceless. So I laugh about it today, but I wouldn't have changed it for the world.
Brother, all those L.A. Rams, everybody that I knew that we were teammates together from that 94, 95 year, we were all happy for you, man. I mean, it was emotional watching you win that Super Bowl because you were a baller. You were an absolute baller. We felt the same way. I told Kaplan the guys, I said, why are we letting our best player go someplace else? He's our best chance to win, and you trade him. It didn't make sense. So, yeah, we were all happy for you. So I'm glad you had to pay for that box. I hope it was super expensive.
Hey, Jerome,
Yes,
last
it
thing.
was. But you know what? I'm so proud of that moment, and to be able to do it in my hometown. That's a dream, that's a dream you never even dreamed.
Right.
Yeah.
You dream of winning a championship. You don't dream of winning it in your hometown.
Right there.
So
Yeah.
that was like, times 10 the high that I was on. So it was a great moment. But you know what? I was cheering the same way when you guys won the Super Bowl as well with the Rams. A bunch of the guys from that team were some holdovers that I knew from when I played. So I was cheering for you guys.
Jerome,
the
first guy we called, Keith Lyle and Isaac, the first guy we called was Roman Pfeiffer because of that. Right?
Was it?
Yes, that was the first dude we called. And then I'm like, does anybody have Jerome's number? We were all thinking the same stuff. All those L.A. dudes from that moment all the way up to that Super Bowl.
Yep.
Wow, that's
It
cool.
started right there. Yep.
Yep. It was special.
Hey, Jerome, before you go, real quick, last thing. So I was in Pittsburgh for the 4th of July, and I was walking down by what used to be called Heinz Field. It's now called Acrisure Stadium. And my son lives down there on the north side of Pittsburgh. And I said, Jerome Bettis used to have a bar and a restaurant right here. I'm just curious, like other business ventures that you got into after football, because there was the Jerome Bettis restaurant for a long time. I don't know how long it's not been there anymore, but other things that maybe you're involved in now.
Yeah, well, one of the most important ventures I've ever started was my foundation. So the Bus Stops Here Foundation, and we work with underprivileged and at-risk kids, and that's something I've been doing since I was playing. So we're 25 plus years going. But from a business perspective, we've got a couple businesses. I've got a development company. We've got a big project in Detroit that we're developing on the riverfront. I've got a business in the energy sector. And it's called M&A Resources, and we work with in the energy space from well plugging to a lot of different technical services, but basically in the energy service. And then I also have a business in the staffing world. We do a lot of temporary staffing for companies around the country, and that's called MBC Staffing. So we're doing quite a bit. I stay pretty busy now, but it's a good thing. I've got a daughter that's 19. She's a sophomore at Notre Dame, and then I also have a rising senior in high school, and he's committed to Notre Dame to play football. So it's a exciting time in the Bettis household here.
What position?
Wow.
He's a wide receiver.
He's a
So
receiver.
he's like, 6'3", 190 wide receiver. Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Damn.
Okay.
All right. Oh,
How's
now
his
we can
game?
keep our eye. Yeah.
Can he play?
Yeah. So, yeah, he can play. Well, I'm excited. Last year they lost in the state championship game, and just won. Just didn't have quite enough, to get over the top. But exciting year. I'm excited for him for this year, and then obviously. Super excited that he chose my alma mater to go to. So it's
awesome.
super exciting.
Oh my God,
Wow.
that's awesome.
That is
Wow.
so cool. Hey, Jerome, we've taken a lot of time. We appreciate it big time. I know old school Rams fans love to hear you on the
Yes,
radio
sir.
out here in L.A., and awesome conversation. Thank you so much for being available, dude.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Jerome.
it.
Okay.
That was awesome.
Man, dude, what a life. You win a
know what?
Super Bowl in your hometown. Your son and daughter are going to your alma mater.